Hi, I'm Robert Maxfield, and today I'm going to discuss who's your hero and why you should always take a look at their work and see how they can benefit you and help you. A lot of times I go out and I'll look at my heroes from the past in music photography and concert photography, and you can gain an insight as to what they did and how they did it, and it helps to make you a better photographer. I've been doing music photography off and on for probably 45 years, and does that mean I know everything? Nope, not at all. But I have a lot of experiences and I've learned quite a bit. Am I still learning? Yes, I am. I'm still learning. I go back a lot of times to people that are my heroes and the people that I like to look at their work and see exactly what they did and some of their experiences. And what I'd like to do today is to try to get people to do some homework, find out who their heroes are, find out the people that did things before they did and were in their shoes, and how that can help and benefit them. The one thing you can be sure of is change. There's always change in any business, but in the music business there's been quite a bit of change. Photography, there's been quite a bit of change. Back in the day, they'd sell albums and you'd have the way things communicated and worked with agents and stage management and promoters and record labels and things like that. I'll give you an example. Today, when I was a kid, you'd go out and buy an album or buy a 45 and you'd listen to it, and that was how the artist actually promoted their sales and their music. Today, there's no such thing as an album. Pretty much, we went through a phase where we had cassette tapes, 8-track tapes, we had vinyl records, we had CDs, we had DVDs, and today we're dealing with a digital era and a digital media. That digital media makes it difficult because the way certain companies promote their music, you could put out a 6-song or an 8-song album and the music promoter would only promote one song. So at that point, why would you say, why am I going ahead and producing 6 or 8 songs when I can promote one song, they're going to promote it, and then a couple months later do another one, do another. That's one way the music industry has changed. It's also changed in the way we communicate. In the past, it was more difficult to find ways to get in with the people that you wanted to shoot, to find out how you could talk to them, how you could do work. Today, with the internet, we're in an age of emails and social media, and learning how to use that is very important. But one of the things I'd like to stress that's really important is knowing the people that have been there from the past and were in your shoes before. I have a set of heroes that, to me, that are really important to me, and I read and I look at their work and I listen to their advice. If you're new to being a music photographer and you haven't seen things from Jim Marshall in some of his experiences, Gered Mankowitz in dealing with the Rolling Stones, or some of the early photographers, Baron Wolman, those people, Robert M. Knight and Led Zeppelin, and what they did and how they worked and what was the mannerisms of the industry at that time. A lot has changed, but some of the things that hasn't changed is the greatness and the skill of their work. One of the things I do when I photograph artists is I try to do a lot of things like some of the people from the past. Jim Marshall said in an interview that he thinks he captures the essence of the artist. It's each musician that he photographed, he tried to catch their essence. And when I shoot, I try to see what actually makes the artist actually the artist. There's certain personalities, there's certain mannerisms, there's certain things that you learn from the way they work. And sometimes, I used to have a saying, I never shot anybody more than twice, and I'm finding now that I'm shooting people because I want to 2, 3, 4 times And each time I go out and I shoot these people, photograph these people, I learn a little bit more and a little bit more about what makes them tick. One of the things Robert M. Knight did in an interview I watched, he talked about back in 1968 there were probably 10 people that photographed music in general. There was just only 10 people. I started in 77, so I'm not too far off, but even at that point I'm still a long ways off from where a lot of the greats were as far as their access, their abilities, their knowledge in those kind of things. So today, what they say is the playing field has changed dramatically. And with the playing field changing, anybody with a cell phone, anybody with a small camera that can get it in, or even those people that are concert photographers, music photographers, when they go out to shoot, there's a lot more people today doing it. So at this point, you have to ask yourself a reason why you're taking photographs and for who. In the early days, a lot of the greats shot for Rolling Stone magazine, which was brand new, or they shot for things for magazines that were on the newsstand. A lot of those magazines are not out today, and that causes a problem because there's not an outlet for people to produce and show work or have the work given to them. Other things that happen is you no longer have a lot of artists no longer have album covers, and they no longer have inserts, and they no longer have those magazines in which they can go to and use as the way to promote themselves. So promotion has changed dramatically. There's a lot of changes as far as that, but back then, the photographers for Rolling Stone magazine, the artists needed them to get promoted, to be shown, to get out into the public. Today, the artists don't have that. So the artist needed the journalist, the music photojournalist, just as much as the photojournalist at the time needed the musician. Just about every interview I've seen with some of the greats has said the world they see today is so much more in chaos than it was in the past. It back then was literally a golden age. At this point too, there's a lot of people out there that are involved with social media. They're involved with photographing bands and things, and artists, things like that. And you have to ask yourself, why am I doing this? What am I gaining out of it? What drives me? And what makes me really want to succeed in becoming a music photographer? And I sit there and I think, I wanted to be a photographer deep down. I enjoy music. I enjoy music photography. And I know probably a lot of people go out and they go, well, that's kind of cool. I go to my local club and I want to become a music photographer because that looks like an exciting lifestyle, and it looks like it'd be really cool, and I could make a living doing it. Almost everybody that I have dealt with or talked with on this matter, that's from the 60s and 70s and 80s, has said it's a lot tougher to become a paid professional music photographer than it has ever been at any other time, and at that point most of them don't even recommend doing it. I know while I have done a lot of professional photography over the years, the main reason I do music photography for me is I still like the thrill and the excitement of one, getting published, the venue, the atmosphere of taking photographs, of music, the dealing with the people. So as personal about it, I enjoy what I'm doing. There's a lot of people that probably are in the same boat, and but as recommended by many people, it's a really tough road to go down and try to make money by just going and shooting bands. So that you need to be aware of. It's going to take a lot of study. It's going to take a lot of understanding, a lot of knowledge about how the world works, and it's going to take a lot of time that you don't see. A majority of, I know my photography, my music photography life is done outside of the actual venue, and not even in the venue. So I would say probably shooting for me is on an average of maybe 10, maybe 15% of the time that I spend doing the work. One of the other things from my studies is almost every single one of the people I study talks about the trust and the cooperation, just the absolute trust that they have between the artist and the management, the venues, and themselves. Without that kind of trust, you would have nothing. If they couldn't trust you with what they do in their world, it would be really bad. The other thing too that you have to learn and realize, besides the trust, is that musicians are people. They're not models, they're not actors, they're people, and they deal and live lives just like everybody else. So be respectful of them, and if you can, have a trust working relationship with everybody you deal with. One of the other things that came across, I got a set of notes here I'm reading. Got a drummer on the back, so you know. But the photography of music is a very intimate process. It's very close working relationship between all the people that are involved, and you should remember that. The other thing too is I found a funny line from Jill Furmanovsky. She started out much like I did, where she was using an Instamatic camera and just wanted to take pictures. Her difference was she wanted to take pictures of Paul McCartney and the Beatles at Abbey Road, and because she lived down the street from them. And I ended up shooting Queen with basically the same kind of setup. And she graduated into going to school, going to college, getting her photography equipment. She started with a Spotmatic, Pentax Spotmatic, and it looked a little more professional. And a couple guys that were there, whether they were professional or not, had the same kind of type of looking gear. And they asked her, said, "Are you a professional?" And she said, "Yes, I am." Along with that, yes, I am. Am I a professional? The thing is, you need to act professional, be professional, and be respectful. So best thing I can tell you right now is to study from those people that came before you, find your heroes, and read about what they did and learn. Thank you for being here this week. It's going to be a long week. I've got a couple shorts coming out. If you found anything interesting or of value, I hope you weren't bored. But please, like the like button, hit the like button, hit the subscribe. It helps. I appreciate it, and we'll see you soon. Bye.